The hack and slash is a genre that is really hard to develop for without being called a clone of another game. It seems anything that tries out the basic formula is accused of being a God of War or Devil May Cry ripoff, but just how fair is that? There are lots of different stories that may call for that style of gameplay, and while very few can be compared in quality to the aforementioned series, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be worth checking out. Today we have a game that aims to get your attention by putting a unique twist on the hack and slash. This is Knight's Contract for the Xbox 360. Knight's Contract features a plot focusing on the unjust execution of accused witches during the Black Plague in Europe. Of course, as everyone was looking for a scapegoat, the area believed that the witches were responsible for the massive loss of life and took to gathering those they suspected were witches to kill. As it turns out, although the women executed were witches, they were not responsible for the Black Plague. But as your companion Gretchen points out, they are now what everyone thought they were during the plague. Your character Heinrich sets off with Gretchen to take care of the witches. Although the game started off feeling kind of generic, the story actually has some very interesting elements that put a nice twist on the traditional fantasy tale. Combat in Knight's Contract is very similar to the games I mentioned earlier, with one main difference. First, I'll talk about what's the same. You use a few different attacks with either weak or strong moves, enemies usually arrive in large numbers, and you can use combos to unleash more damage. However, unlike games like God of War, your witch companion can use different spells to trap enemies in place or deal them damage, setting them up for finishing moves by you. Combat does actually work fairly well, although the lock-on system the game suggests you use is pretty pointless, since just aiming your character at an enemy and attacking works just fine. The game is not without its problems, however. First, boss fights are just not any fun to play through at all. They move at a pace that's far too slow for the game, and they quickly become repetitive, turning into a button-mashing contest. The game also uses a ridiculous number of cutscenes and loading screens. Now, I was thinking that this wouldn't be so bad if it was an older 360 game, but this was released last year. It's not like the cutscenes add anything to the experience either. Almost all of them could have been presented to the player during gameplay. It's pretty frustrating to know you can't walk into a new area without having to watch one of these things. Knight's Contract is below average in its visuals as well. Faces look passable, but the hair on witches looks so bad that I thought textures might not be loading. Environments are also very generic looking, and enemies feel uninspired. Some of the special finishing moves do look pretty cool though. Knight's Contract is a very average game, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who's perfectly comfortable playing other hack and slashers, but if you're looking for a change, you may want to give it a try.